So today I want to talk about PostgREST. That is emphasis on the REST. So PostgREST is a standalone web server that turns your Postgres database into a RESTful API. If you take a look at the homepage here, we can see that you've got quite a few sponsors that you may have heard of already. So Supabase, Neon, Tembo, all kind of big players in the hosted Postgres space. And that is because they all use Postgres under the hood. And what I want to show you today is actually it's possible for you to run it really simply on your own Postgres database, be that local or somewhere else. And how awesome it is to be able to get your API without having to write any Python on the server. So yeah, with all that said, let's get on with things. So PostgREST is maintained by Steve Chavez. He is actually employed by Supabase at this point, so he's hired back in 2020. I think he's been working there for the last few years. You can see all his contributions back to PostgREST and Supabase there, and you can see this announcement that they employed them back in June. Yeah, and it's an awesome tool. I've been loving using this the last couple of weeks. So if I jump over into my terminal and show you I have got Postgres running, I'm going to I've got that running under Docker. You can run it on your local machine if you want. I'm going to use the PSQL command within that. So I've just got it running that's pushing out to a local port that's the standard port on my machine. And we've got Postgres open there. I'm going to pull open some SQL that we need to be able to run Postgres. So our API definitions that we're going to be creating for this actually exist within the database. So the database is the single source of truth for everything. So our API is defined in the database. You can see here that I'm going to create a schema that's called API. Within that schema, I'm going to create what's going to be reflected as an endpoint, but is basically the data that we're going to be putting in. So we've got this table that is a task, which is got some attributes, done, the name of the task, and when it's due. I'm going to put some tasks within that. So we've got drop off the kids, finish the tutorial, and pat yourself on the back. And you can see that the timestamp's going at default, and the Boolean that we had there is going to default to false as well. So we've inserted a bunch of them. We're going to create a role, the role that is going to be the anonymous role that is able to have read access to this API. So we create a role web anon, and you're not able to log in with that. We are going to allow that to be able to have usage of the API schema. We are going to allow it to be able to select, so only be able to read that to-dos table that we defined. We're going to create this authenticator role as well, and this is a special one that is used by Postgres for all other roles to access through, so we will create that. And we will allow the web anon role to have access to that authenticator role. So having done all that, we can now configure Postgres to connect to the API that we've just defined. So I've got this configuration file for Postgres that uses the user that we've just created, the authenticator user, with that password that we created and the same schema. And we're using the web anon role for the thing that is going to have read access to it. So I've already got Postgres installed. That's a fairly simple install with Brew if you're on a Mac. And I can just do Postgres and point it to the postgres.conf. And you can see we've got something running on port 3000 now. So if I open a browser and bring that up, so when we look at that, we pre-print it so we can see it, we actually get this nice dynamic API that is, I believe, an open API, so like a Swagger definition that you can use. If we hit the to-dos endpoint that we defined, so the root there, we can see we've got 3 to-dos that we created. 1, drop off kids, all of them with null for the timestamp, all of them set to false. So we've got 3 to-dos in there. We've created this API without having to do any Python, which is brilliant as far as I'm concerned. You've got like a free API without having to do very much work at all. So that's great. We've got read access to it, but we can't, and we can actually query this. So we could do like if we wanted to select the ID that was equal to 1, I believe it's something like ID eq.1, is it something like that? Yeah, okay. So we've got this weird that's kind of not how you'd normally expect to interact with a REST API that you define. So we've used this eq.1 and we've pulled out the task that we've got defined that is got an ID of 1. So if I bring up some of the other selectors that you can use, because it's a little bit different to as you might expect. So yeah, if I pull this open, you can see that we've got all these SQL-like terms, so greater than equal, less than equal, not equal. So we can do basically all the things that we can do in SQL via the URL that we are supplying, but albeit in a slightly different fashion with typical kind of ID-based referencing there. So having done that, we haven't got write access to this. So say I wanted to write another task to this, I wouldn't be able to do that at the moment. So here I've got a post that I want to do which adds a task. If I try and do that, it's not going to work because we don't have permission to. We've only granted select access at this point. What we can do is we can create another user that does have access to it. So we're going to do that now. So we're going to create a trusted user. And to do that, we need to get back into PSQL. So I'll just pull that up again. We're going to create a user that has write access. So we're going to grant them access to Authenticator again. We're going to grant them usage on the API as well. So this to-do user has access to the API. And we're going to give them all access rather than just select access at this point. The other thing that we need to do here is add a password to our configuration file. So I'm going to kill the Postgres server for now. I'm just going to run this JWT, which creates a secret and appends it to the configuration file. So if I add JWT, then when I look at my configuration file, I've now got this JWT secret. Should be on another line. There we go. And so we can see that we've got an anonymous role, but now we've got a JWT secret, and we can make use of that when we're making authenticated requests. So in order to do that, we're going to use a website called jwt.io. You wouldn't normally use this. Typically, you'd have it generated in your code. So I am going to correct this to have a payload of the role that we're using. So in this case, it is JWT user, sorry, to-do user. And we're going to use the secrets that we just created here. And then we've got this encoded JWT that we can use. So if I export that, and then when I go ahead and so now if I try and do that same curl request but I use the token as part of the authorization, I should be able to insert it. In fact, actually, we're not running Postgres at the moment, so we need to do that. It's Postgres running again. Oh, we have got an invalid signature. Oh, in fact, actually, you can see what problem is there. It has got the wrong it's got it pasted into the middle. So let's do all that again. Go back to our conf file, plug out the password that we were using. Okay, so there's no copy and paste errors there now, hopefully. I can now copy that. Let's try and use that as the token. And let's try and do our curl request again. So now I've got to pick up the kids. And you can see it didn't come back with an error, so we assumed that that's okay. So yeah, let's see in the browser if that works. We just call back all the to-dos. And you can see that we've got the pick up kids one there that we just created in there as well. So what we're going to try and do now, that's really cool because now we've got read and write access. We can use JWTs. That's a non-expiring JWT that we're using at the moment. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to set one of them to true. So we're going to use that ID equals 1. So the first one being drop off the kids. Kids have already dropped off. And we just set another one. So hopefully now we do that query. You can see that we've actually got they're coming back in a different order now. And if I go to the ID is equal to 1, we've got it done is equal to true. I could also say done is equal to true. Done is true, and we get that first task back as well. So hopefully you can see that we haven't had to do a huge amount of work there in order to get that. And again, we haven't included a framework or anything. We have just used PostgREST. And this, I think, is really powerful. I think it's really useful to be able to do this on your own machine. So another great thing is as well is that there's already PostgREST client libraries that exist. So for instance, this one, where it's just called PostgREST. If we were using an environment, so I've already installed this. Let's go ahead and use it. Open the terminal. You can see in this code, all it's doing is pulling back everything from to-dos. So I've already got that installed. That's just PostgREST. We can just do a UV run PostgREST demo. And you can see we're pulling back everything there. So that library comes with a bunch of other things that we can do. So we could, for instance, query on that EQ as well. And say done is equal to true. So only pulling back the tasks that are done. And when we run that, in fact, actually need to save that. And if we would do that, and then we get the one that is done. So yeah, I'm really enjoying using Postgres. I've been using it for the last couple of weeks on a project, and we've been able to remove a whole bunch of code and simplify what's being done on our server. Love the fact that you get this Python client thrown in as well for free, basically. And it's very little work from your side. And yeah, it's really, really powerful. I think being able to query things using this SQL fashion. There's lots more things you can do. You can implement row level security. You can implement JWTs being created by the database itself. All that sort of stuff. I haven't gone into that here because it gets more complex. But yeah, hopefully you found that demo useful. Feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, and I'll speak to you soon. New video. All right, bye for now. Bye.